Okay, so now that it's sewn, I've sewn them together. This is what it's going to look like when you open it up and press it. And what I like to do is I go through and I cut off the 4 wings. Okay. Like that. So now I have 2 of these, and you're going to do this twice, so you'll end up with 4 of them. Okay. So this is our quarter square unit, and we can set these aside because if you look at the picture, these are going to be on the outside of the block. So we're going to set those aside. And the next step is to strip piece. I love strip piecing because it's a way to do, you don't have to sew as many little pieces together, and you can power sew these, okay? So what I have is my 2" by 12.5 and my 3" by 12.5. And I've put them right sides together, and I've sewn a 1/4 inch the whole length. Then I'm going to take and flip this up, and I press against this seam, okay? Now we have to cut 6 2" pieces out of here. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to get my ruler. I am going to take one of my straight lines on my ruler and put it on the fold. I'm not worrying about the 2 outside edges because as we press and things, those can distort. And I'm going to slide that over down here. The reason my ends are uneven is because I didn't trim them to 12.5. I left them the size that they were. So I'm going to slide that down, and I'm going to clean cut this edge, okay? Just like we did when we were cutting. I'm going to turn this around, and now again I'm going to find my 2.5 inch line, which is 2 inch, right, Michelle? We are cutting 2 inches. Yes, we're going to cut 6 2-inch segments. So I'm going to find my 2 inch line, which is right here, okay? And I'm going to make sure that I have, again, one of my horizontal lines on the fold. This is straight, this is straight. So I'm going to cut 1, 2, and each time I'm lining up this on the fold and this on the edge. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And if you do cut them down to 12.5, know that you only need 12 inches. 6 times 2 is 12, so you have extra fabric there. So now I have 6 of these units, and I'm going to set those over here. Then the next step is to take your, this is your, let me look. It is the 2 by 3 inch rectangle in your 3 inch squares, and you are going to place those right sides together at one end, and you're going to sew your 1/4 inch seam so that you end up with a unit that looks like this, okay? Now, the arrows in your instructions tell you which direction to press your seams. So in this one, we pressed towards the dark fabric. In this one, we are going to press towards this fabric, okay? Then we are going to take one of these and put it right sides together on the edge of this, and we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. And we're going to make 4 of these. But what's important is we are going to need 2 of them. If I turn it like this, it'll make more sense to you. You're going to need 2 of them with this on the left, and you are going to need 2 of them with this on the right, like this. Okay, is that right, Michelle? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. these are your 4 outer corners. And the reason we need mirror images, if you look at the picture, because they actually go in, if this was the top row, they go in the block like this. Okay? So I am not going to take time to go sew this. At this point, I'm going to show you, once you have these 4 made, we need to make the center, and then we can put it all together. So I'm going to slide these up here for the moment, because you're going to duplicate this because you're making 2 of each. To make the center, it's pretty straightforward. You are going to take your 2 by 1.5 inch rectangles that you cut from the background and your 1.5 inch square, and you're going to just sew those together to create this strip. To make your center, you're going to sew one of these that way and one of these that way, and that will be your center square. Okay? At this point, all you have to do is line it up and sew it. All right? And so, if you look, this goes in like this. So this is our top row. This is the top row, and you've got seams to match here. Okay? This is the middle row. I'm just going to kind of move that in a little bit so you can kind of see what that's going to look like. And you're going to have 2 more of these that look like this on each side. And then you're going to have a repeat of this, just mirror image down below. Okay, I am back. I have done a lot of the sewing and I have laid this block out. So this is what you want to do before you sew the final block, is you want to take your piece parts, and I even take all of the piece parts before I sew pretty much anything, and lay them out so that I can see that everything's going in the right direction. Because notice that these are in opposite corners here, and these are pretty much going the same way, but I did want to point that out. Now when you sew the rows together, you will need to press seams in opposite directions, and you'll just, so if you press these towards these blocks, you'll press this one in and this one out. We have a skill video out there on how to match seams, and I encourage you, if you're a beginner, to watch that. Okay, so that is block 1. Again, don't feel abandoned. If you have any questions or you're struggling, come on into the store and we'll help you get it cut and get you started piecing so that you can get your first block put together.